My name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine. Today's topic is Confessions of a Knife, which is a song I listened to a bunch as a teenager by My Life with a Thrill Kill Cult. You can check that out if you want a new song today. Lots of yelling. I thought this would be an appropriate title for this because what this video is about is me confessing to things that I find to be my growth edge, my evolution work. I'm laying on the altar, shining light on with you, if you will, what I conceive to be a space of growth and evolution for me. I think it's important that we honestly own what our graces and our gifts are. And I think it's also really important that we shine light into the shadows, shine light into the ego, and discern where it is we can evolve and become a more balanced individual, a healthy individual. And so I recently had a road trip to Roswell with my dear friend and teacher. And I was given the opportunity to share with him some things that are going on in my life. And I was telling him about a gentleman that I'm not trying because there is no try, only do. I'm working to kind of withdraw my attention and my interest from, but I find it difficult because I find him very interesting and I'm very curious and he's somebody I want to be friends with and I want to get to know. And so I've just been in a space of like really kind of since the new year, focusing on Heather Feather and focusing on, keeping my attention with my growth, with my evolution, with my resolutions, and not getting distracted by what is not actually flushing up in my field. Most of my friendships occur because people come to me and say they want to be friends. I'm usually reading a book, and I've met many divine souls that way. But this particular being is somebody that I have romantic or sexual attraction to, for sure, since go. And I'm very curious about and curious to get to know. And so I have not been feeling that that's mutual. And so I've been working to withdraw the attention because of all the things Heather Feather can do, one thing I never want to do is give somebody unwanted attention. I've had a lot of unwanted attention in this life, and it's unpleasant. It's uncomfortable because, there's an individual in Albuquerque that every time I see them, they hug me with an obvious energetic energy of wanting something more than just connecting randomly like we do. And it makes me uncomfortable because I have no intention to ever date this individual, spend more quality time with them because I have other things I'm focused on. And it's just not an energetic match for me. And so it's awkward. And so I find it unpleasant to receive unwanted attention. And so it's something that I never want to give others unwanted attention. I'd rather live the rest of my life alone than be giving two-leggeds unwanted attention. It's an unpleasant experience for everybody involved, so it's awkward. So there's a being that I've mentioned many times that I have interest in. I'm keen to become friends with, to get to know. I find them very extremely physically, sexually attractive. Like, yeah, yes. And much more importantly, what I witness of this person's character is amazing. And without becoming friends with this person first, I don't ultimately know if it's somebody I'd want to date. We can see what we conceive to be someone's character, but until you get to really start hanging out with somebody, you don't actually know someone's character. And so there are a lot of things that can cause me to not want to date somebody I wanted to date. A lot of things, But I was telling my friend about this. I'm like, this guy, here's all the things I like about him. I won't share those here because I want to honor his privacy by not oversharing anything about who this person is. But I was just telling him, I like this, I love this. When I found this out, I was like, oh my God, that's the cutest, super cute. And I was telling him, I experience him as very hot and cold, though. Sometimes he's really friendly to me. Sometimes he talks to me. Sometimes he's amicable. And sometimes he doesn't talk to me at all. And my assumption is that really has nothing to do with me, right? That's the ego can be like, because I like him, be like, oh my God, he likes me, he doesn't like me. It's like, I don't know what this guy thinks or feels about me on any level. We've never had a conversation about it, and that's how I would know. What I do know is that my experience is it feels hot and cold. And he's like, well, that's really interesting. Could be he just feels hot and cold sometimes, could have nothing to do with you for sure. And I was like, yeah, but to be fair, I have a tendency to be colder with him than anyone else around him because I'm super attracted to him and I don't want to give him unwanted attention. And so I tend to kind of pull back and I tend to be a little bit cold. And he said, well, Heather, if you're being hot and cold, maybe that's why he's being hot and cold. Like, Have you considered actually sharing some of the warmth and delight you feel in his presence with him, or like getting to know him, talk to him? He's like, have you considered being friendly to him or getting to know him? I'm like, what a novel idea. What a thinker that is. And so my tendency is I tend to want to write out what I feel, be clear. These are the thoughts, these are the feelings. And I wanted to write to him like, hey, he gave me some advice and I followed that advice. And it's one of the sweetest things I've ever done in my life. I don't want to get into the details to just not expose that piece, but he also has experienced great coldness from me, and I want to apologize because I always want to be in integrity, and being honorable and being authentic is important to me. And I don't like being misperceived by others. I'd rather people authentically know who I am. You're welcome to reject me. My self-esteem doesn't come from you. It comes from myself, and I give it to myself infinitely in every breath and now. So, but I do like to offer the authentic self and be clear and be more direct and be more honest. And so I was driving home from this farm, or I was practicing animal communication this weekend, and I was thinking, like, maybe I should write him a letter and just be clear that, like, I want to thank you for this, and I apologize for this. And as I'm doing that, a coyote crosses my path. And I know as soon as I see a coyote, I've had it happen before where there was a dead coyote. And I know from teachings of the Dene, which is what the white man calls Navajo. Dene means the people. That's what they call themselves. The Dene teach that if you pass a coyote, especially a dead coyote, that means turn around. Tricky situation, turn around. And once there was a dead coyote and I was driving with another friend, my girlfriend, and I was like, dead coyote, we're supposed to turn around. And she looks at the map and she goes, this is our exit. Take this loop. and the dead coyote. So I've had experiences where I know how to respect this message that the Dene's wisdom has given my consciousness. So a coyote runs in front of my car. I watch this cute, adorable little he looked like a cute little gray fox. He was so cute. He was such a handsome boy. I love a coyote. But as being a trickster totem and me understanding its message, I was thinking about writing this guy a letter to just apologize if I've been rude, to let him know I'd like to be his friend if he ever wants to hang out, that I find him very interesting. And in that moment, the coyote crosses, which means back it up, turn around. And so I was like, okay, this guy has not asked for a letter of all my thoughts. Here's some thoughts. Here, if I was rude, I'm sorry. Blah, blah, blah. P.S. I really like that you said this. That was pure medicine and the best thing I've ever done. And so what I'm working to do is to just be present with this individual, be more authentically how I feel in my heart of hearts, like engaging with this individual, which is very respectfully, of course, not being overly forward or overly fresh in any way, not giving unwanted energies, but being attentive, being present, being kind, saying hello, not being like kind of stuck in, I often don't talk to him because I feel like I've always been that way. If I'm attracted to someone, I'm like, hide, somebody hide me. There's an attractive person over there. It just makes me like a weird goofball clown. And so I've been working to be like a regular person, and that's what I'm going to continue to do, is to just show up with this individual. And inshallah, as the Muslims say, as God wills it, so shall it be. If the bridge is meant to be built between he and I, then we will become friends. And I'll know because we're becoming friends, What I can do, the thing that I'm placing on the blade, if you will, the confession that of my ego that I'm placing on this knife, is that I have not been my authentic self with this individual. I have always wanted to be much nicer to him. I want to be mindful to practice unconditional love with all beings and to not give special love, special attention. And I'm not being really authentic with him because I sometimes get nervous. He's going to figure out that I am deeply interested in him and I'm such a clown. It's like, God forbid he figure that out. Like, okay, Heather. Yeah, what a terrible thing. Goofy. I prefer to be my authentic self. Part of a neurodivergent brain is loving the truth. And I love the truth, and I eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I will always want it, and I will always crave it, and I will always seek it, and it's what I always want delivered to my doorstep. It's what I always want to chew on. And so that's my confession, is that I have not been authentic with an individual in the river of my life that is very well deserving of my authenticity and of my kindness. The soul is very deserving of my kindness. And I don't really know this person either. So a lot of stories in my mind about what it could be like to spend time with this person, but I don't know them yet, So there's that piece. There's another confession that I've been working with, which is a confession that, like, looking at this piece of relationship, is it true that I want relationship? The conclusion that I'm ultimately coming to is that, yes, it's absolutely true. Not only do I want relationship, but I would also love to be a mother. I have all these thoughts on that. And I feel like my mother gave me so much of her spiritual wisdom because that was my special interest and that's what I absorbed. And she gave me so much of the teaching of love that it is a shame that there isn't a child in this lifetime that will receive my undivided devotional attention and love, and to disseminate the love and grace that she poured into me in this place by them being my child. So yes, I've always wanted a child. I feel like it's kind of a selfish aim, but I do want one. And I also want to kind of take over an orphanage when I'm 60 or 70 and be like, you're home, kids. And, I'm going to cook dinner and we're going to play and, we'll learn to build things and get out in nature, But I want to help children. I want to help animals. I want to, I saw a stray dog, and a stray cat in Roswell. I'm still thinking about how I wish I could get them a hot bed and a meal. I want to just get back to Roswell, help these animals. These are the things I want to do. And so there's a confession, I didn't get this dog and this cat a meal or a hot bed, and I can't stop thinking about it. I didn't do it. Granted, when I got to Roswell, the store was closing, and I didn't meet this dog until we got out of the closed store, and I didn't have access to food. But it's like, I think of that. It's like, well, I'm just okay. And so then we go and get the bus and da-da-da. And now that dog is still out there hungry and cold. You know what I mean? And so another confession is that I'm often not doing the things that I really value most. I do practice unconditional love to the best of my ability. I do share when the resources are available. One thing I can highly recommend to any person watching this video, if you love to camp like I do you love to camp? Maybe. I love to camp. I have 2 tents right now, and I had a sleeping bag. But I'm not using the sleeping bag. I'm not going to camp during the winter. And I'm so rich and abundant, I know for a fact that the next time I want to camp, I will have more than enough money to go to REI and buy any sleeping bag I want. That's how blessed I am. Thank you so much. I take 1,000 knees. And so I have shared my sleeping bag with a person that told me they could use a blanket. Have you ever considered looking at your blanket situation, seeing if that is something you could donate to a homeless person right now in the winter, or giving away your sleeping bag if you know you're a person that's abundant enough to be able to buy another sleeping bag the next time you go camping? Can you share that with a body that's out on the streets and give them that warmth? And so there are ways I can exercise my graces and exercise my gifts, which may sound like I'm beating my own chest and tooting my own horn. I usually don't like to share stories like that unless it can influence someone else to share their good. And there are ways that I fail myself. I don't know how long I'm going to think about this cat and this dog, but I can tell you, I'm thinking about them every single day. I do a great job of being honest. It's something that I dearly love. I'm noticing, though, there are ways in which I'm not sharing my full truth or my full authentic self. I've been given opportunity to meet up with someone I don't necessarily want to meet up with. There was a time when I thought I did, but this person is the person that my ex was having an emotional affair with. And although I'm happy for them and I'm happy they're together because I don't want to be with them on any level, and I'm so excited that they're in union, it's like I don't really want to meet this person. But now my exes come in like, come meet him. It's like, and so I'm struggling with being authentic and saying, I don't want to meet this person. And it's because a part of me is like, well, it doesn't matter. It's, it's not that I don't want to meet him because I have any attachment to my ex. It's just awkward. But maybe it's more awkward for them if they run into me because they're right next to me. Maybe I can make it more comfortable for them. So I'm really weighing on, how does Heather be truly authentic, truly honest, truly fully herself? How can she lay her ego across that blade this day and every day moving forward so that the more authentic, more honest, more truthful version of myself is being presenced in the field? And that's tricky because I'm a very adaptable, adjustable being. I think I probably will meet her because it doesn't matter. But I'm trying to find room for authentic Heather to be present in every circumstance, to not invalidate this woman before she's presenced, Are there any ways you're being inauthentic, or any ways you'd like to lay your ego across the blade so that you might have a rebirth today? You can always subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube. Amun.